What is up, everybody? Spontaneously Pickled here, and today I am going to give my review for Payback 2023. Now, I do want to say I did make some more small improvements to my sets. I hope it's okay. I've increased the size a little bit. I noticed it was a little bit small, and I'm working on getting the green skin to be a little bit better for the little tablet in the back, the TV screen in the back. But anyway, let's get into the event. So the first match that came out was Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus in a steel cage match. Now, one thing that got my attention is they keep showing Tiffany Stratton. So I'm curious to see what she is about. I have not watched NXT, but I have to watch some of her matches to see what it is because it seems like she wants some bigger fish to fry, so to speak. I'm kind of getting excited because each time I watch an NXT wrestler, also they come in, they bring it. They bring in new moves. They bring in like a lot of, they take risks, and I think a lot of times because most of them are often young, so they don't mind taking risks, which is I feel bad for their bodies, but I do think that it's also good. Now with the match, it was really funny because in the beginning of the match we have Trish standing in the ropes. I honestly thought that she was gonna try to run out the cage right at the beginning of the match, and she practically tried to do that pretty much in the match as it was, but the bell did start, but she didn't do it the way I thought. She did jump down, and they had she just kept trying to run away. Now, I gotta say the chemistry they had fighting was a lot better than their previous matches. This is the one thing I felt they needed. As some of the other matches weren't really hitting them, and they weren't feeling like a premium live event worthy. So I'm really glad they improved it. Now there was a part where Corey Graves mentioned it was a good idea for Trish to bring her protective gear, and I think that would have been really good idea because there was a point in the match where Becky Lynch took Trish Stratus and banged her head at least like 15 times into the cage. Oh my goodness. And it was just way too funny. Like, this match was just really too amazing overall. Like, I think that at one point they even got like the "This is awesome" chant, and I think they totally deserved it. So, like, you can definitely see like Trish's, like, the damage on Trish's face. Like, it was really, 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 you can see her head started like swelling up. Also, at one point, Trish performed they had like a lot of back and forth, which was really good. I do think Trish had a lot of more control of the match because she was obviously being a heel and tossing Becky Lynch to the cage a lot more than the other way around. But at one point, Trish even went out of her way and performed the Widow's Peak that had me at like, wow. Did she even do that move before? Comment down below. I feel like she really trained up heavily for this match, and she totally paid homage to Victoria. She was kicking so much ass at one point that the fans were cheering, "Thank you, Trish." But then Becky did return the favor, and she did lead us twist of fate. And my goodness, I gotta say, this match, like, it just kept going. It just kept wowing me. Like, and then there was another spot where there was a top rope miss where Becky Lynch jumped on top ropes, but then she missed, and the Trish Stratus caught her with a Stratisfaction. And then that, of course, got yet another "This is awesome" chant. And they had that a really big superplex spot from the top rope, which had me like, ouch. And even then, I think that got the third or fourth "This is awesome" chant. Like, my goodness, this match. I can't speak enough how good this match was. I really, really love the evolution from the women's division because I think back in the day it wasn't so good. It was much more simpler matches, all sexualized, and then like no real like substance. That's why it doesn't surprise me this is Trish's first cage match. Now, later on, of course, Zoe Stark comes in and interferes because that was like expected. She took a little longer than I expected for her to come out, to be honest with you. But so it became a 2-on-1. But of course, Becky Lynch handled them both actually, doing the manhandle slam to Zoe, incapacitating her, jumping up, catching Trish Stratus trying to escape, doing a manhandle slam off the top rope, and then to win the match. And 1, 2, 3 victory for Becky Lynch. Now, this match is really great and one of my favorites, especially in the women's division. And to echo Corey Graves said, neither woman was afraid to take risk. And that's one of the criticisms I have about a lot of the women's matches. They tend to be overly soft with the bumps and look super soft. Now, don't get me wrong. I get being safe. They're putting their bodies on the line all the time. But you can put a little bit of more oomph into your move and make an impact. So I got to give Trish credit. She looked very comfortable in the ring, especially considering this is her first time in the cage. To that same point, she's also a really good heel. She always has been, but even now better than she was before. Now, after the match, Zoe tried to help Trish up, but Trish seemed visibly upset. And maybe they built on it, and then Trish winded up slapping Zoe. And that got me thinking, like, dang, maybe they did build up the tension that I mentioned after all, like the other day from yesterday's review. Because I saw some small tension on Monday. Because I also think that Zoe, when she punched Trish, it looked like a stiff punch, by the way, at the end of it all. Zoe was like, okay, so she closed the cage door, and then Trish was like, what? And then Zoe caught her off guard, and then hit it the Z360, leaving Trish staying on the ground, knocked out. Now, I do hope they do something with this because, Trish did an amazing job, and if Trish could put on matches like that, I would love to see her do another run. I gotta say, I really, 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 really think that would be really cool if she does another run, but, just putting on matches like this, Next up, we had John Cena, and he came out, and of course, The Miz interrupted John Cena. And then they had a little bit of a promo battle with each other, where Cena threw some shade, talking about The Miz being The Miz being a professional host, because it's true, he hosts more than he wrestles. And then The Miz struck right back, saying, "Hey, well, you know what, Cena." Look who played a merman in the Barbie movie. So it was really cool seeing everybody bashing each other, and that was really funny. And of course, he bashed Cena's fashion, which I think everyone's done from the freaking dawn of time. And like I said, I also gotta say that also I think that Miz, he has it in promos. Like you could see he was able to compete with Cena, but also Cena too. And neither of them showed nervous. And I think that's one of the reasons why they put LA Knight in this program with two of the best promo workers, because I think that whilst LA Knight does an amazing job promo, like he does amazing promos, but I think against some of the best, you can see some jitters here and there. Now, I'm not here to want to talk, because I mean I couldn't even record a video without like stuttering a bunch. But the point is that I think that they do have faith in LA Knight, and I hope that you guys watching see that. That's where I'm going with this. That they're putting him here because they have faith in him and they want him to grow. And I think having him in this program is actually going to help him grow on the mic even more than he already is, because he's already great on the mic. But if he fine tunes those small jitters, he's going to be the best of the best. Now, also, I gotta say too, one thing I gotta say is crazy about Cena too. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those fans back in the day cheering CM Punk and pretty much anyone who wanted to get Cena. But the guy has earned his stripes. Even the haters like me, I respect them now. I think there's also a point where your respect for a wrestler supersedes your disdain for them overall in the ring. And I also think that, like, while people used to say he can't wrestle, I think he could wrestle. I just think the problem was back in the day was he was doing the five moves of doom, and I think that people in general, we're getting a little bit tired of people having like winning most of the time, whether it's a face or a heel. It just blows people the wrong way. You want to see somebody lose at a certain point, you know. I also get that many will say it's easier to be a heel than a face, but I would argue that it's actually not. Because if the fans respect you so much, look at Bobby Lashley. Even when you're a heel, they can't really boo you. Now, WWE, if you're listening, if you really want to make Bobby Lashley get some heat, because I don't think they like him as much as they like LA Knight, have him obliterate the LA Knight, and I think that right there will make Bobby Lashley a proper heel again. Not that I want to see it, but let's be honest, that's how it's gonna work. So then all of a sudden, to introduce the match, we have the Miz going, no. Johnson like, yeah, no, yeah. And all of a sudden, LA Knight comes out to one of the loudest ovations I've ever heard in my life. Like, WWE, please give him a 50K plus attendance event. I gotta hear the ovation he's gonna get. It will be totally deafening. Also, I gotta say, totally random, but the Trinidad and Green Shirt guy, I think they have been more at more premium live events this year than the Miz has won matches, as well as how many Miz there has been actually. So, good job, legends. Now, the fans in general were hyped about this match. Each punch LA dished out, of course, got yeah. Um, you know, there was even a point where LA Knight was slamming the Miz into the table, and I was thinking like, forget 10 beats to the bottom, call 10 table slams to the yeah, because that was really, really cool. But of course, the Miz being the great heel that he is, he tossed LA Knight into the barricade several times, saying yeah. And I thought that was really funny because the Miz always shows all the time that like he's a really good heel, make you just like pissed at him. And I remember during the 2010s, out of everybody who I cheered for against Cena, the Miz is probably the only one that I wanted Cena to win. And when Cena beat him in that match where the Miz submitted like a little baby, I was so happy. I was like, yes, finally that title's off him. So that was funny. Now, Cena himself, he was doing a really good job as a referee. Not like maybe a little bit extra, but actually doing the right job. The Miz did a better job in the beginning, not getting in his face, but then LA Knight did get in his face, which I was like, oh, I hope that everything's okay. But you know, there was just like it was just like them putting a show, I guess, telling a story, as they say. Now, LA Knight has shown multiple spots in the match that not only he could win a match using his power, but he could also use agility and his speed to hit moves out of nowhere. And I respect that. I really like that. Like there was a spot where he did a top rope bulldog, but the way he got up there was there, and a couple of other spots that I didn't really take note of, but he did a couple other like leapy spots, which like really really surprised me, and it really adds to his arsenal. I mean, yes, he's not a technician like Chad Gable. Yes, his mic work is better in comparison to it than his ring work, but don't sleep on his ring work. LA Knight has some really really good ring work. I gotta give him that. Also, Cena caught a spot where the Miz was trying to cheat and did a roll up where he was on the rope. Of course, if it was a regular referee, they would have noticed it. So I think Cena might have found a second call in. If he ever wants to come back as a wrestler, as a referee, he can definitely do it because he did a really, really good job. I can't stress that enough. And of course, after that, the Miz and Cena had a little bit of an argument. So the Miz finally lost his cool. And then later on, there was a spot where both the Miz and LA Knight almost ran into Cena. But of course, LA Knight, was the one that took the brunt of that, unfortunately, where the Miz, being the heel he was, caught LA Knight from behind and did a skull cruiser finale. I was really worried for a minute that I thought it was the end. but it wasn't. And then also like later on, LA Knight, he did the LA Knight tried to mock Cena doing the "You Can't See Me," but thankfully LA Knight had reversed it, and then he caught the Miz, which was starting the victory sequence where LA Knight did his L.A. Knight, yeah, elbow. And, after that, he caught him with the BST, the Flood Force Trauma, the BFT, pardon me, and got the 1, 2, 3 victory. Now, overall, the match was good and had some unexpected spots that I really liked. But the Miz also was one of his better matches that I've seen him have this year, and it shows why he's definitely still a formidable wrestler to put in the ring. And he could be the most annoying heel in the world, which is really really good. And I do think that this match served its purpose, and I think that in the end, even though John Cena and I had a little bit of a weird moment at the end, I think that what it was trying to show was that LA Knight is getting Cena's endorsement. I think that's what the point was. And actually, I was really surprised at Cena's job as a referee. He was very much unbiased, and I think that that's really something that's really really good. To be honest with you. Now, also, I think LA Knight, like one thing I like about him, he does come off like, and it's not a bad thing. Other people say it's a bad thing, but it's not like he comes off as an Austin like face where he wasn't never really a face, but because Austin was always had an attitude. He was always kind of like a bad guy, but a good guy, right? The fans loved him anyway, and I think that I'm really hoping that that's a long term path of LA Knight where he stays endeared, and then like with the fans still love him. But the thing is, I think the best way to do it is to do like they did with Austin too, where they don't make him win every single match all the time. Because Austin lost some rivalries, Austin lost some matches. I mean, there was a night that Jericho beat Austin and The Rock, and they were both the top stars at the time when he was the first undisputed champion. Like these kind of things is what I think will help keep LA Knight in the fans' good graces. Because LA Knight, as long as he keeps up his good promo work, keeps up his good in-ring work and stuff like that, I think that people will love him. And I think they should definitely give him a mid-card title at least and give him a reign for that, and then have him in contention for the WWE, like the heavyweight championships, the main title, the two main titles, and keep him there, but have him have his wins and losses work up, but always stay like the top card. And I think that will be really, really good for LA Knight's future. So I hope that's what they do with him. Let's hope it keeps the momentum up. Next up, we had Austin Theory versus Rey Mysterio. Hot take, I really wanted Austin Theory to win this match. I like him personally, and I see him being a top down, capable of being a top talent. Just they need to give him a little bit more love and show him more character work. And I really liked what he was doing towards the end of his U.S. title reign, where he was like being a little bit vicious that one night. I think if they let him do that, he will win. Also, WWE did do a cinnamon toast crunch commercial. Um, I can't think we have cinnamon toast crunch here, so I would love to have some though. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, it was also good to see Rey Mysterio finally rocking some LWO colors. Because he hasn't really done that. He has Zelina Vega, but still. Anyway, echoing my point earlier, Theory, he not only showed his power, by the way, he jumped out from the gate and was really going on Ray, keeping that pressure on him. And Austin Theory, like one thing I like about his moveset is he can do things that look like face or heel. Like that jump on the top rope thing that he did with the Rey Mysterio that he jumped behind and did another move. I think that was really cool. Now, he really, really cast the pressure on him. Of course, Austin Theory, in Austin Theory fashion, he did his usual trash talking, which eventually comes back to hunt him. Pretty much like the phone gimmick did. Every time he filled out the phone, it came back to hunt him. But Rey Mysterio, considering his age, I'm still shocked at how agile he can be sometimes. Because obviously the moveset was amazing, but then like what really got me was that sliding DDT he did to Theory from the outside. Like that was just amazing. Like you didn't even see it coming. Now there was also a really cool dropkick spot where Austin did his rolling dropkick. Then Ray came back in return and did a dropkick. They had a small rest period and a small back and forth, and then it was the closing part of the match where Rey Mysterio landed a 619, but he didn't land a splash because Theory put his knees up. And then Theory rolled up, was preparing Rey Mysterio for the A-Town down, but then Rey Mysterio rolled up and rolled Austin Theory for the 1, 2, 3 pin for the victory, and Rey Mysterio retains his title. There was one thing I really noticed that they referenced Dominic a lot more than they usually do in this match. I mean, they often reference him, but this one they did a lot. So I wonder if they have something planned for that later on. We're gonna have to see what happens with that. I also really like this match overall compared to their SmackDown match, but it was definitely like one of my lower tier matches of the night. I think it was a little bit fast, and maybe I'm being biased, but I wanted Austin Theory to win. To be honest with you, I love Rey Mysterio, by the way, but again, I am a heel fan, so I do like some of the heel. But the Ray did deserve the victory because he was really, really good. But I really also like Austin Theory's athleticism, and he was very game with his power, but it's also his ability to pull off a move out of nowhere. And I think that's really, really cool. Next up, we had the interview with Becky Lynch, and I guess things are moving forward faster than I thought with Tiffany Stratton, because Tiffany Stratton mentioned, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Bayley, and Asuka, I'm the better NXT champion than all of them. But then she was like, oh wait, I forgot, you were never the NXT champion. So she's definitely Becky Lynch. But the thing is, Okay, sure, Becky Lynch was an NXT champion. Okay, I get that, but isn't the Raw and SmackDown like having both the Raw and SmackDown titles, let alone both like at the same time, a big accomplishment than being the NXT champion? So I was kind of like, okay, I get the shade, but at the same time, like I'd be like, well, like, you never been the Raw and SmackDown champion at the same time. Good luck. So I don't know. That was just me. That's my hot take on that. Anyway, the next match after that was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Now, before the match, I gotta say, I had to throw my random commentary. I noticed that Kevin Owens donned. First of all, he donned a different outfit, but he also donned a red shoes. I was like, oh, okay, a little bloodline reference or something. What's going on? But also I noticed he wasn't wearing his usual shorts. So I'm guessing he didn't want the Brock Lesnar shorts incidents. Perhaps I don't know. Brock Lesnar, if you ever see this, don't kill me, because Brock Lesnar would destroy me. One F5, I would shatter into pieces. Anyway, afterwards, Priest and Balor came out, and I noticed they were playing on the tension with both them with the fist bump. And from the jump of the match, they started going outside and fighting already, and like they were like jumping in and out, and all of a sudden the fans started cheering, "We want tables!" But Sami Zayn brought out chairs instead, but not tables, so making the fans wait. I guess that's WWE's thinking nowadays, huh? To make them wait for the table spot. So that was really kind of like I noticed that in the last few like quote unquote hardcore matches. I'm going old school here, or no disqualification matches. And also, a friend reminded everybody why he's a good heel by doing one of the oldest tricks in the book, stepping on the local team's shirt, disrespecting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Corey Graves hated it so much even that they started cheering KO on when KO came out to beat him up. Then Damian Priest came out to equalize things, but then Sami Zayn came out with a lovely high flying spot to give KO and Zayn control of the fight again. I loved how recently WWE has been adding more street fights and rotation in honor of Terry Funk, but KO took it to the next level, ripping off his usual KO shirt and revealing a Terry Funk shirt, and I really, really love that. Rest in peace, Terry Funk. That was really, really a cool spot. I really, really like that. And also, hearing the demands of the fans, finally, KO and Zayn finally pulled the table out. And they did it actually kind of a lot earlier than a lot of recent matches, I gotta say. But of course, they wouldn't be used as soon as they brought it out. That never works out, right? And of course, because they were spending so much time like showboating to the fans, Damian Priest, being the powerhouse that he is, recovered and got the Judgment Day back on top. And my lord, at some point, Angry KO recovered and he got Priest down on the ground, and he was stomping him so much. Like I thought he was gonna keep stomping Priest until he passed away. But thankfully, Finn saved him, only for Zayn to nail Balor with the chair shot, much of which echoed to the outside probably of the arena. Eventually, as expected, with a street fight, Dominic came out and evened the odds, quote unquote, making this match a 3-on-2. And eventually, they tossed Sami Zayn and KO into the penalty box. But later on, after Judgment Day, for planning for no reason, I don't know why they were doing that, KO and Zayn, like good faces, rep the Pittsburgh Penguins jerseys and hockey sticks to gain control of the match again. Zayn performed a very powerful Blue Thunder Bomb into steel chairs, which for Finn to only to kick out of his own volition, which prompted me a well-deserved "this is awesome" chance. And I have not been doing wrestling commentary for long, but I will say I wouldn't have been surprised that if Balor didn't kick out of that Blue Thunder Bomb, because actually I felt like hitting it on a chair was a big enough impact, and it's much more of a stronger impact than a Haluva kick, but that's just my opinion. Now, as I mentioned before, for a lot of the match, Priest was being the heavy hitter that he is, and was changing the complexion of the match most of the time. Priest was the one that was doing most of the heavy lifting in this match, let's be honest. Coming back in with the same hockey stick that KO and Zayn were using, and then slamming Sami Zayn through the chairs they set up, which looked very painful. So that took him out for a while. So then Priest and Balor started double teaming KO, but as always, to give KO his credit, he loves a freaking fight, and he was telling them to bring it on, despite them beating him down. I'm not sure if I would want them to keep coming on. Kids like, come on. I was like, they're beating the crap out of you. I wouldn't want that. They were literally beating the puss out of him. But, you know how KO is. He's a fighter. Later on, KO and Zayn retained control by the pre-show area. And then so Dirty Dominic came back into the mix. And then KO actually landed a really good table spot on one of the most hated heels in WWE. And also that led to some really good "this is awesome" chants. So that was really, really cool to see. And there was a funny spot back in the ring where Sami Zayn was about to do a Haluva kick to Balor, but then Priest just tossed the trash can right at Zayn's face. Priest must have been like, "I'm not ready for this match to end yet." And it literally almost landed right on Zayn's head, which is really cool, which is really funny. And then the Judgment Day, they had a really interesting, potentially potential finishing move, but it failed, only for Zayn to pull off a Priest's shoulders and toss Finn into the table with the previous setup in the beginning of the match outside. And then there was a nice sequence with Zayn doing the exploder to Priest and was going to go for the hula kick, only for Priest to grab him by the neck. I mean, he literally just grabbed him by the neck, like on some old school Undertaker stuff. And then out of nowhere, KO came out, distracting Priest and delivering a stunner, and then when KO came in, and then Zayn delivered the haluva kick. But then, of course, he was going to pin Priest for the victory. But then JD kiss ass big head Big Dunna comes out and saves the Judgment Day, pulling Zayn off of Priest, and turning the match into basically, then jumping into that, turning the match into a 4-1-2, only for KO to murder him with a really, really nasty table spot that looked like it actually really hurt the way he threw him on the table. I don't think he landed right on that one. And out of nowhere, the real Eradicator, Rhea Ripley, came running out like a banshee out of hell, and she spears KO through the barricade. Even Cole mentioned she eradicated KO, and he was KO'd. And holy spit, as the fans were cheering. So now we have a 5-1-2. Back in the ring, Baylor looked like he was ready to end the match, but Zayn moved out of the coup de grace and prepped Finn for the haluva kick. But then Dom came back in with a briefcase and then slapped it on Zayn's back, and then Finn rolled over and pinned Zayn for the victory. And now we have new undisputed tag team champions. It was a really, really good match. Now, like I said before, this match was just really, really amazing. Firstly, the victory was unexpected, and it changed the titles, which I think was as much as I like KO and Zayn, I don't mind seeing the change on to go for the Judgment Day, because I do think KO and Zayn did have some injuries that they were fighting a lot. So I think that it's good to see the titles. Hopefully Priest and Balor won't have injuries, because I feel like these tag titles are hunted both for them. This is also a good way for Judgment Day to reflect their dominance, even though, yes, it's not needed for them to have all titles, but I do think there's a story to be told here. And I definitely wonder if they're going to continue the drama between Priest and Balor, because for the first time, the briefcase finally benefited the Judgment Day, because more times than not, it's actually harmed them more than helped them. But actually, one thing that really made me laugh was I love this also is that they made Dominic get the quote-unquote killing blow for the match, which I actually think is going to build more heat on Dominic, which is really, really good, because everybody hates Dominic, which is amazing. I love Dominic because of it, because he's like he's like that annoying cowardly heel that even me, sometimes I want to hate, but actually I really like it. But also, one thing that really made me laugh was like this totally random spot where Dominic was shaking a knocked out Finn Balor's hand, like, "You're welcome." Like, dude, he's dead. Do you realize he's dead? Like, let him get up first. Also, I do know, of course, that JD McDonough is gonna join the Judgment Day. I mean, after all, his name is JD, right? So it's got his initials are JD, so it's inevitable at this point. But as of this match, though, every official member of the Judgment Day was holding the titles. Now at this point, I'm starting to, they may be a bigger step in the bloodline at this moment. Thank you, Edge. I really missed that. I really missed when he made the faction, unfortunately, and when they betrayed him. But a lot of people say that he was better than it was before. So let's see what happens with that. Now, and one cool thing is that Finn was like, "We got all the gold. We got all the gold." So Finn was boasting about that. Let's hope that those words don't backfire, of course. And actually, it's kind of funny. They celebrated without JD McDonough, which is kind of funny as well, by the way. I really like that. I was like, okay, good for him. But I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure he's going to join eventually. Next up, we had the Grayson Waller effect. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I almost died of laughter when Waller made the joke about the reading levels, about like Pittsburgh not being able to read, and like just like Cody, they couldn't finish the story. That was really good. But Cody came out and Cody was about to say, "What do you want to talk about?" And I thought that was awesome that Grayson Waller cut him off, like reminding Cody this is his show essentially. It really shows that Grayson Waller is really, really good on the mic. Like he definitely has a skill on the mic. And Grayson was definitely going in on Cody, saying Cody begged to be on the show and mentioning that his year had a lot of ups and putting a lot of emphasis on a lot of downs. And I think it was really good to do that. And I really liked this segment. But, Cody being a pro on the mic wasn't going to be outclassed by Waller. But the announcement was even better, but not really a huge surprise. Now, firstly, I like the fact that Cody referenced that he hopes he doesn't regret this move given the history, and saying that he used before, after mentioning he would use his political stake to do this. What is the move he made? Well, the move he made was not only bringing main event Jey Uso back, but bringing main event Jey Uso back, but on Raw. So I'm really curious what they're going to do. I have a feeling that they're trying to do is try to buy some time for the rival between him and Jimmy to be held off until WrestleMania. That's the idea I'm getting. The look between him and Cody, it was like, oh my goodness, is everything gonna? And you could see that the history was there. But then Jay pointed at Cody, and it was kind of like a sign of respect. And then of course Grayson yet again shows why nothing phases him. He interrupted inches and was like, "It's only been 2 weeks." Throwing some shade about how he's only been and how throwing some shade at Jay about how he's always been a twin, only for his teeth to get knocked out by Jay with the super kick, of course. But I definitely gotta say I definitely enjoyed this Grayson Waller segment. Like I said, I definitely think Grayson Waller, he's here. He's definitely gonna be a mainstay. His promo work is amazing. His ring work is really good as well. Next up, we had Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. As Raquel was coming out, I couldn't agree more with Graves, saying that if she wants to dethrone Rhea, she needs to show some more serious killer instincts. But Cole was building up the past, saying that that Raquel has defeated Rhea in all their previous encounters. But that's the same thing that happened with Flair. So for me, like saying that doesn't mean anything because Rhea is a much more stronger competitor than she was back in the NXT days. Let's be honest. And also, I didn't realize this until Cole pointed it out that Rhea was paying homage to China. Yeah, I guess maybe it was the case because but the thing is Rhea already dresses like China as is, but I guess Rhea's gear was a little bit more sparkly. But actually I really thought that it was just a pay-per-view, like how they often like do different outfits, like more elaborate outfits for pay-per-view events. But nonetheless, that's a cool homage. Rest in peace, China, of course. And then shortly after, once the match started, like for a while, Raquel and Rhea were playing a power game with Raquel showing that she not only is equal, she's maybe even a little bit stronger than Rhea. Raquel was really challenging Rhea. It was a nice tone change to see Rodriguez overpowering Rhea more often. Of course, Rhea did get in the beginning some control back by doing a couple of hair pulls. And in her control, Rhea did a really beautiful drop kick, which gave Rhea control for a good while. Now, Rhea spent a good amount of time wearing Raquel down. Eventually Rodriguez did manage to get a few hits again, only for Rhea to gain control again. Like each time Raquel got a little more moment of control, Rhea would turn the tables quickly showing why she's the world women's champions and the most dominant woman in WWE at the moment. Even one of the comments there says, "Is Rhea playing with her food?" I think that line woke Rodriguez up because she came back with a flurry of her signatures to regain control of the match, and even doing a signature clothesline, which practically almost looked like it took Rhea's head off almost. But shortly after, Rhea took control yet again, showing that she's not to be toyed with. It eventually got to the point where both of them were trying to end the match with their finishes, only for the other one to reverse. But Rhea eventually went for the bad knee after Raquel landed from a really bad spot on the top rope, which almost looked like they reminded Rhea, "Oh yeah, Raquel has an injured knee." And yeah, so it just shocked me that Rhea didn't just jump on that from the beginning of the match. I kind of expected she would jump on that from the beginning of the match. I even think that Corey Graves has mentioned that as well. Now, Rhea did try to do a special submission, the Prism Lock, but obviously Raquel was way too big for that, and she couldn't even keep the hold on. So Rhea, Raquel was just able to crawl out, breaking up the hold. Now, I mentioned this earlier, but I really loved how Raquel was showing her power hold and Rhea for a power position, both of them. And then she slammed her to a barricade and the ring post and then the barricade. And then tossing her again into the ring post shortly after, which was really cool. And then later on, finally, Dirty Dom comes out to make the save, which distracts Rodriguez. Which then Rhea capitalized on the distraction and did a riptide for the victory. Now, to be fair, I gotta say, if I were a women's wrestler in the current era of WWE, I would have just ignored Dom and just focused on Rhea because he can't hit me. Like, maybe I'm taking the rules too seriously, but I would exploit those, to be honest with you. Now, I will say, because this was a powerhouse match, the match was a little bit more slower than expected than some of the other matches of tonight. But both of them showed their power, and I think that with this match, whilst I don't think it was their best match with each other, I still think it was an okay match, though. I think it was more showing their positions, and I do believe that this rival might continue more because of the fact that it really, really, really showed their power, and it showed that Rhea is not the only powerhouse in the women's division, so I do hope that they definitely continue that story and go forward with that. Next up, Cena turned up looking like Byron Saxton to interview Finn and Priest. He tried to make a play on some of the drama between Priest and Balor, but they weren't having any of it, and Finn used Cena's line saying that the champs are here. So it was a really good, gave off a good impression that everything is good, and honestly, I don't know if they're gonna break the Judgment Day after all, and I don't think they need to. I think they could just end the tensions here, but I think that obviously it's always good to have a story where there's drama involved. Just like any movie, right? Like you always want to have drama, so it makes sense why they may not end the story right there. Next up, we had Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Seth comes out and lets the fans serenade him. I guess it's become part of his interest now where he just stands there and serenades them. However, I wonder how long he could do it for. I hope that one day, like, they just let him just stand there for as long as he wants and just see if the fans will serenade him for like 3 days straight. Like, I wonder if he just stood there, they would still do it, to be honest with you. But I love it. And then prior to Shinsuke coming out, they did like a really cool like manga type animation recapping his previous promos and the rivalry thus far. I thought it was a really cool way to present things while allowing Shinsuke to seem formidable, but keeping him using Japanese, which is obviously understandable. He's more comfortable with. Also, the fans still cheered for his entrance, which Seth Rollins said they wouldn't, but they still did. I like Shinsuke, but getting people to sing your interest song indeed is a nice feeling. But it also is a good testament to show you that why Other Night is naturally over with the fans, because he doesn't need like a whole song or something has like a whole like type of vibe to it. He just got over on his own. You gotta respect LA Knight, and he's definitely the real deal. Not to segue back to LA Knight, but I had to mention that because I think some people, I've seen some critics, and I do agree with what some of the critics say. By the way, much respect to y'all for giving those criticism, but I do think that he did get naturally over. Now, I won't. I'm not gonna say the critics are wrong because I do think that it's a possibility. This might be a moment there, and let's hope that's not the case. But it's very possible. But LA Knight is definitely over with the fans. Now, jumping back to the match and seeing back to Seth and Shinsuke, it was great to see the Great Muta come to support Shinsuke, and it was really cool to see Seth doing a pinstripes and homage to Bray Wyatt. I really love the homages played in the show, and once again, Bray Wyatt, rest in peace. Match had a slow start, but it actually wasn't really bad. They were telling a story, as I mentioned before. I liked the showmanship that they were showing with the light exchanges, but finally Seth Rollins did a really unique sweep to Shinsuke Nakamura, which put him into a submission move afterwards. But Shinsuke got out of it and did his signature "Come on!" and his first official kick to the back, which we know we were gonna play on. For a while, there was a good back and forth between the two, with nothing really crazy happening until Seth came out showing a nice cool flippy spot where he landed a couple, missed one, but landed the last one. And also, Seth Rollins here reminded us why he is one of the better heels. I remember with his rivalry with Riddle, he was really sadistic, and like it came to play with here when he was banging Nakamura's head into the stairs and trash talking him for making a comment about his family and life. So it was really cool to see Rollins show some of that heel side in this match. But Shinsuke did recover, and he did eventually toss Seth into the table with a bad landing that he landed like on the monitor or something like that, which I think one of the commentators announced as well. And then he threw him hard, flipped him over to the back, into the barricade, which looked really painful. And after that, Shinsuke was going on a good fury with a lot of his attacks targeting Seth's back. If it was 2K23 at this point in the match, Seth's back would have been red. But Nakamura was going for a high risk move, which didn't pay off, unfortunately for him. And Rollins went in with an amazing Hurricane Runner for the top rope. Like, that was just amazing. He was going to go for a superplex, but I think he realized the total might stay on his back, so he did a Hurricane Runner instead. And of course, the commentators played on that as well. They had a leather back and forth, but Rollins got the best of it, and he landed an absolutely beautiful high-flying frog splash. There was another spot shortly after where Rollins showing his heel tendencies that he's amazing at. But after going in for the curve chop, Shin escaped and for another small back and forth between the two, and then Shinsuke got a nice like flying knee off the top rope, which looked absolutely beautiful. They really put on a show, but I know slowly the match was coming to a close, which I totally understand because they really put on a show and they're probably both retired at this point. But there was a spot where Nakamura reversed Rollins into an armbar, which Rollins rolled out of and did a powerbomb to escape, which looked amazing. I know it wasn't a finisher, but eventually Shinsuke hit a devastating landslide, which since they are playing on the whole kayfabe with playing on the back issues with Seth Rollins, it would have been a respectable ending to the match if Shinsuke was to win it. But because it would have been a lot better than like a surprise roll up, and I don't think a victory like this would have needed a finisher, to be honest with you. Nakamura then landed a Kinshasa out of nowhere, and he was going to go for a second one to finish off Rollins, but then Rollins' body Rollins just collapsed, his body gave out on him. But showing he still had some fight there for him, only for Nakamura to continue working Rollins. But eventually, after an exchange and backlocks, as Cole mentioned, he called like a standing switch, I guess. I didn't know that was the name of it, so it's good to know. Rollins landed a pedigree, but Rollins was too tired to get up. And Shinsuke got a kick out of nowhere once again. And then he tried to do something with Seth Rollins, which resulted in him doing a pin, which Rollins kicked out of and then landed a curve stop for the 1-2-3 victory. The fans were really into the match, and as expected, Nakamura was showing why he's a true contender, which they weren't showing much prior since his return. To be honest, let's be honest with you. I did not see Shinsuke Nakamura in his matches prior to his return. I only seen a couple of things in Japan, so I knew he was capable. But it was really good to see them playing on that, and because WWE, like I feel like a lot of the Japanese men don't get a lot of love in WWE because they're often smaller than the other wrestlers. But this match itself was highly competitive, and also I'm really hoping that they give Shinsuke more of a spotlight to let him grow more. But also, this match also shows that this is the title that people want to contend for, because this is the title that, well, matches like this definitely builds up the title's credibility. So I hope that they continue to do stuff like that. But it may be my hot take, but I think that a real title and a real champion defends at least every premium live event. So thank you so much, Seth. I also hope that people take note on how amazing he was of Nakamura's part in this match, and like I said before, he gets into better contention too. Also, at the end, it was interesting to see Nakamura standing outside the ring show his disappointment. I feel that it's something they don't really often do, and I'm excited to see what this week's Raw has in order for them. I do think that it's possible they might keep this rivalry going, and I kind of hope they do. I think overall this event was a really good event. Some people didn't like it. I've seen from other people who reviewed it faster than I did, but I actually kind of liked the event. Yeah, there was a couple of matches that could have been better. There weren't a whole lot of matches, but I just felt like the matches that they had, there was no particular squash matches, and that's what I like, because I think some premium livers, they waste a match on a squash match. I think everybody who fought their matches had looked like they were good contenders. If you want me to be honest, though, my favorite match of this particular pay-per-view were, first of all, the Trish match. The Trish and Becky Lynch match was the best match in the entire show, in my opinion. They stole the show. And then afterwards was the Judgment Day versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I really like that match. And then third being the Seth Rollins versus Nakamura match. I think overall, like I said, this pay-per-view was a really good pay-per-view, and I look forward to see what they do on Raw. And with that, this ends my review. And from here, Spontaneously Pickled is out. See you guys, and see you next time for the Raw review, which will be a lot shorter. Just to let you guys know, I plan on doing a lot less comprehensive reviews for the regular shows like Raw and stuff like that and SmackDown, but I'll be doing more comprehensive reviews for pay-per-views. I mean, try to make it a little bit lot as deep as detailed as I went to here. But we'll see. Like, cause I'm still, like I said, building my format. So I thanks again. I do thank all of you who did stick around to watch the whole video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And Spontaneity Pickled is out.